Hi, everybody. It's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So this is my take on the October 2025 astrology. So we have a full moon that is in Aries and a new moon in Libra. So this month of October, the emphasis really is on diplomacy, the law, relationships. These areas will be an overall or overarching focus. So we start off with our full moon in Aries on the 6th of October at 8:47 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time at 14 degrees of Aries, 8 minutes. And so this full moon is bringing a big spotlight or a culmination to something for you, depending where this actually falls in your chart. Now, we do have the sun that will be opposite to the moon, of course. And so that sun is going to be in Libra at 14 degrees of Libra, 8 minutes. I guess notably for me at this full moon was the fact that we've got Mercury square Pluto. And so this really speaks to, the Pluto part of it suggests powerful energies of some powerful people. The Mercury then suggests messages. These can come through writing, through speaking, through presenting. But the square really says there's a message being delivered here from those in power that isn't going to sit with everybody at all. Now, nicely, we have a sextile happening between Uranus and Neptune. That's an ongoing theme in the background for some time. But this certainly lightens things up from the standpoint of potential real inspiration, opportunities to be inspired, right? We have Chiron, the wounded healer, conjunct Eris, the wounded person who is not happy with things. They're conjunct and square Jupiter. To me, this automatically said this is somebody complaining about things that they don't like and making a big deal about it, exaggerating. The square to Jupiter I take as exaggeration. But the Chiron part too also suggests that we are having something to do with an expanding problem with our health. Our health matters. And I'm talking from a collective standpoint here. Now we have Venus widely sextiling Jupiter. Now that sextile is going to be exact a few days later on the 9th of October. We also have a yod that's formed. So a yod has a sextile and then it points at something, a planet or angle or asteroid. And in this case, the sextile is formed between Uranus in Gemini and Neptune in Aries. And this is pointing to that Mercury that I spoke about, right? That Mercury that is square Pluto. So that Mercury is at 0 degrees of Scorpio. And so this is asking us to pay attention to those messages that I just spoke about from those in power that may not sit well with folks. There's something we're going to have to take on to deal with that. That's what that yod is doing here. But it is asking us to pay attention to what is being said. What's being said will be from those in power, people in positions of power. Now, this particular Mercury that's at 0 degrees of Scorpio, we will have Venus come in around the 7th of November to conjunct that point. Now, I think that's going to bring in, I know it's next month, but that Venus, although it's a big attractor, it also takes the hard edges off things. So whatever is said at this Mercury square Pluto, at this full moon in Aries, it'll be softened up a bit that first week in November 2025. Yeah. The other thing to bear in mind too is we don't talk about this a lot, that because Mercury is part of that yaw that, they're pointing at, and Uranus is the sextile with Neptune. Remember that Uranus many times is seen as the higher octave of Mercury. So there may be a little zing with this, whatever message is being delivered here. Mid-month, 14th of October, we have Pluto going direct at 1 degree of Aquarius. It will sextile Neptune and trine Uranus. Whoa, this is really nice. Now, this to me says, instead of those in power delivering difficult messages, this is those in power giving us opportunities to be inspired and enlightened, maybe even freed up. Uranus can be a very freeing energy, right? Freedom is its call. When we get to the last lunation of the month, we're looking at a new moon in Libra. So this is your new moon, Libra. Happy New Year to you. It is on the 21st of October, 2025 at 5:24 a.m. and that's Pacific Daylight Time. It is at 28 degrees of Libra, 21 minutes. So we have Mercury here again, but Mercury this time is going to be conjunct Mars at 20 degrees of Scorpio. Notice we've got this Scorpio theme as well during this month of October too, right? And so this is, again, some action being requested. Now, that whole Mercury and Mars being in Scorpio really speaks to me as, I think this is deceptive energy of some sort with that whole Scorpio influence here. It's like I'm getting this phrase, marching orders. Somebody is going to be given marching orders here. Now, we have at this new moon, of course, the sun and the moon are together. It is widely opposite to Chiron. And so this says there may be a new start around that 21st of October with regards to some kind of health matter. And this may involve Libra things, right? And Libra things is socializing. So maybe socializing will have to be brought down a little bit. It is diplomatic relations. It's the law. Maybe there's going to be new laws of some sort put in with regards to our health matter of some sort. We have that sun and moon square Pluto. Of course, it's out of sign, but Pluto also trines and sextiles Uranus and Neptune. And so this is bringing in kind of a combination energy here. To have the new moon square Pluto, it's a new start from those people in power, saying this is how it's going to be done. Now, this could play out in diplomatic relations. It can also play out, especially the Mercury part of it, in a treaties of some sort. So there may be some people in power say, well, this is the way we're going to do it. This is the treaties, sign it, and that's it. That's kind of what I get here. But it does initiate a new start. But the Pluto trining and sextiling Uranus and Neptune, it really also says there's some flowing energy here. Now, it may be from a different power player, different than the square that the new moon has with Pluto. So there may be two opposing parties here that both have positions of power that they both need to work together on. That's what I'm getting here, right? Libra is very much diplomacy. It is very much harmony, right? And balancing things out. Now we have Jupiter squaring Chiron. And so this, I believe, is a health matter being exaggerated or being, expanded in some way and not a favorable way. Mercury and Mars will still be at 20 degrees of Scorpio around that point. Nicely, it's going to be trining that north node in Pisces, though. So this says to me that I get this when I always see both Mars and Mercury together. I always get this word decree, that there's a decree that is put forward here with regards to our destiny path. And I think that's tied in with this whole thing about this treaties coming to an agreement, maybe between nations. There's a number of situations going on in our world that need to be resolved right now. The other thing that's going to be happening at this new moon is that Mercury will go into its shadow period at 20 degrees of Scorpio. And we know that, we've got Mars hanging out there too. So this may give you some indication of the November Mercury retrograde that happens in both Sagittarius and Scorpio. When we have a November peak at the astrology, we're looking at a full moon in Taurus, a new moon in Scorpio. We're going to have Jupiter that will go retrograde. And of course, we're going to have Mercury both go retrograde and direct. The Mercury retrograde is going to kind of be operating all the month of November. Not a good time to necessarily sign contracts in November if you can avoid it. But it is a good time to negotiate. So if you're entering into, say, as you're listening to this towards the end of September 2025, and you think, well, I may have something I've got to negotiate in November. November could be a very good time to do that. Just make sure you've got all your pieces of information lined up, right? So negotiation's okay. Signing contracts, not necessarily. And of course, anything to do with computers or speaking, writing, sending messages could all be misinterpreted. But that's for November. I am going to be doing a separate video following this one on the whole Mercury retrograde, and I'll go through all your signs and ascendants. We're going to have Mars in Sagittarius most of the month of November as well. All right, let's go on to your sun sign and or ascendant, whatever resonates with you. I recently had a client who has her progressed sun as well as a couple other planets progressed that are in Cancer, even though she is not a Cancer sun natally. And she was telling me that the last few months she's been listening to and reading for Cancer. And I thought that was interesting to bring out to maybe some of my clients and or viewers that are watching. It might be worth taking a look at or listen to your progressed sun, especially if you've got maybe more than one planet that's progressed in the same sign. That influence of that sign may be operating during the time the sun is in that sign. So Sagittarius, you've got a nice setup here in October. First of all, that full moon in Aries is a fellow fire sign, so we know that there's a favorable trine of energy happening for you, and it aspects your fifth house. Now, it is a full moon, so it suggests there's some either big illumination for you and an ending of some sort. Well, you may favorably end a creative project. Others may favorably end maybe some beginnings of a love relationship that just, it just didn't turn out, but you both walk away from it and it's fine. I'm thinking the fifth house for some Sagittarians may also be a time when maybe you give birth, right? That Aries influence here is like a new start. The seed starts and it blossoms upwards. So there may be some Sagittarius that give birth around this time at this full moon. Congratulations if you're one of those. We have that new moon in Libra. It'll be forming a sextile. Sextiles provide you opportunities should you decide to take them. And it's in your 11th house. And so this is a new start with regards to, for some Sagittarians, maybe this is going to be you having a hope, dream, or wish come true. Now, what's interesting about this is the 11th house, generally speaking, we always talk about our friends or the groups we belong to. So Sagittarius, you may have some opportunities come through friends. So make sure you are listening to your friends at this point, especially friends that can potentially give you an opportunity to express or manifest this hope, dream, or true, or wish of some sort that you may have. The other thing is, of course, groups. So I'm thinking here, maybe you're going to get an opportunity to head up a group of some sort. They approach you because they like your stance of being even-handed, maybe even your knowledge of the law. And they ask you, would you head up our group? And that's the new start for you. That you have to take up a position of diplomacy and a balanced standpoint in a group setting of some sort. Now you've got your Mercury retrograde happening. It starts in Sagittarius and then goes forward again at the end of the month in Scorpio. So you will be affected by this Mercury retrograde that's going to be happening most of the month of November too. So try not to, Sagittarian, if you can help it, sign contracts, buy new computers, new mobile phones, that type of thing, if you can avoid it. But certainly if you need to enter into some negotiations of some sort or collect information that'll be important for your future, let's say, November is going to be a good time to do that. Take care, Sagittarius. All right, folks, that is my wrap up for October 2026, astrologically speaking. I will be doing a separate video on the Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde starts in Sagittarius and ends in Scorpio, pretty well takes up the whole month of November. Look out for that next. I'm sending everybody lots of love as per usual. And take it easy regarding relationships this month. Try to take that high road of working with people harmoniously, looking for a win-win situation in any relationships this month of October. As always, I love doing people's charts. I've got all my contact info below. There's pretty well something for everybody in terms of a pricing of what I do, my services and that. Please take care of yourself, and we will talk to you next month in November. Bye for now.